Make some friends.
Sorry.
My bad. I'm a ghost.
It was a magical summer.
Stuff that can't be fixed with a Peter Gabriel song.
Can't decide between sci-fi and romance? Why not have both? Every Room is a Planet, directed by Malay Javier, is a science fiction romance film entry in the Cinema One Originals Film Festival that just ended late November this year. It's far from a boy meets girl flick though, or that robot and gizmos and extraterrestrial creatures in Men in Black kind of sci-fi. It's a twisted love story of a girl with a twisted mind who thinks her husband was abducted by cousins of E.T. Left in the hands of Ellie, the brother of Alan, who is husband to Yanni, our leading lady... wait, did you get that? Okay, let me say it this way. Alan and Yanni just got married. And though the film didn't show a formal wedding ceremony, it showed the wedding in a more creative way by using snippets of the wedding that appears to have been taped on some old-school video camera. Now, Alan has this brother named Ellie. And on the day of the wedding, Ellie was shown making an oath to Alan that if something bad happens to Alan, Ellie, will take care of Yanni. The film opens introducing Yanni, who is in an asylum. For some reason, the girl got herself bonkers. Perhaps she took the phrase crazy in love a little too literal. So she has this extreme obsession to her husband and a whole damn lot of paranoia. Medically speaking, it's like some mental disorder seesawing between depression, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and anxiety. Yanni, though, is not your typical lunatic. She's harmless, doesn't talk to herself, has good hygiene, loves donuts, and binge writes binary codes. So the gist of the film basically just revolves around Ellie trying to save Yanni from herself, from her own mind. He tries to make Yanni get over her obsession to Alan. So now some serious stuff. The film's storytelling is an experimental linear type. The film though isn't that dark, but it's not the type that would make you laugh either. The story itself would transcend you in the unstableness of the mind of Yanni, and to that was an imbibed sci-fi flair, making the whole film stylized as out of this world. The film provided depth of character and story in it, and the development and execution won't leave you shortchanged as well. If there is one thing which the story can improve on though, perhaps it's the establishment of why Alan left or what happened to Alan. Because apparently, Alan did not die. He didn't cheat, he didn't get himself nuts, he's not imprisoned, he's not hiding from a crime he committed. And yeah, that is exactly the point. Why did Alan leave? I mean, seriously. But also take into consideration that perhaps this was not some plot hole the director overlooked. Perhaps it is purposefully placed in the film because it is trying to tell you something. Like, to make you feel what Yanni is feeling, that deep, insatiable yearning. Or to leave you clamoring for answers that when you walk out the cinemas, you'll fail to sleep for 3 straight days just thinking and hypothesizing a subplot. Either way, the film is that type that gets into you wittingly. Yet, to say it's good is an understatement, and to say it's awesome is a fearless review. Perhaps we could call it provocative. A struggle with one's own conscience, one's own thoughts, and the vulnerability of the human heart. Every Room is a Planet is the sci-fi romance that situates you in a moral crisis of decisions with the weight of promises to be kept. From the lighting, costumes, sets, and even the quality of the acting make up one of film's most essential elements, the mise-en-scène. In one of the earlier scenes from the film, we see that Ellie reluctantly visits Yanni as requested by his parents. Ellie sits down with Yanni in one of the institution's recreational rooms, where we see Yanni sketching away at her desk and instantly lighting up at the sight of Ellie. There are 3 key elements in the scene that tell the audience of the initial relationship between these two characters, namely the lighting, the set, and the arrangement of the props in the background and foreground. We have a yellow-green tint for the lighting, and the psychology behind the color suggests the state of mind of the characters, particularly Yanni's, that she is mentally unstable. Another thing that hints at this is the diagonal lines and shapes that are incorporated in the setting. which are the arrangement of the house of books in the background, the painting in the upper left background, and the slanted blocks laying on the table in the foreground. This alludes to how Yanni finds Ellie's presence secure and comforting. But still, her mentality is volatile and she's prone to break down when presented with any objects of fixation like Alan's picture or his clothes. For the majority of the film, Yanni was clad in a pink hospital gown, which would allude to her innocence and sensitivity. Also, Ellie and Yanni are often seen together in her hospital room, with nothing but plain blue walls, a plain bedside table, and her plain hospital bed. The mise-en-scène here suggests how life-draining the House of Madness can be, with nothing remotely stimulating in the background or foreground, and even Yanni's body message tells us how it's taken a toll on her. This is like the mise-en-scène at the start of the film American Beauty, where Lester Burnham was called upon his boss Brad to discuss about his work efficiency. In the scene, Lester is placed in a frame where the background is also a plain blue wall with props that lack enthusiasm. The world of madness in Ellie's life isn't limited to what we see when he's with Yanni. One of the first scenes we see of Ellie's home shows him with his mother in the living room, with the scene giving off an ominous mood with its lighting. The scene had a low contrast yellow lighting which alludes to the heightened tension, anxiety, and also fixation. The lights outside of the house that we can see in the background also refers to this idea. In the foreground and background, there are a lot of vertical lines that look like prison bars. Kind of implies how the state of the home is like a prison for Ellie's mom. And we can also see how Ellie feels confinement while he's there too. And the last mise-en-scène from the film I want to bring up is the scene in the psychiatrist's office. Although this story revolves mainly around Ellie and Yanni's blossoming relationship, we also see him with another girl who happens to be Yanni's own psychiatrist. The scene clearly suggests the idea of pleasure, attraction, and desire between the two with the red-orange lighting and walls, and even the shells and starfishes in the background. Shells are actually a symbol of Venus, the goddess of love, and in some cultures, the starfish is also said to be a symbol of love. These elements combined suggest the state of the relationship between Ellie and the psychiatrist. Although a rather intimate one at that, it's limited to very sexual encounters, with no deeper sense of intimacy behind it. Even the way the two characters are positioned in the frame says so. They're both on the opposite sides of the screen with much distance put between them, just like how they're worlds apart from each other. There are many different ways on how the film was shot. The film shows a wide variety of camera shots, camera angles, and camera movements. For the camera shot, they used full shot, mid shot, and close-up. For the angles, eye-level angle and Dutch angle were shown. All of the mentioned camera techniques are usually used in almost all of the films that we see. So let's focus more on the techniques that were used more in this film: dolly, shaky cam, eye-level angle, and Dutch angle. In the film, the dolly shot helps the viewer by giving them a more detailed look on where the character is situated or what the character is doing. It is shown here in the video that Ellie is looking for Yanni's room. There were multiple rooms inside the vicinity, but he is trying to find that single room amongst other ones. The shaky cam movements used in the film signifies the realness of the scenes. It separates this part from the film itself, where the viewers are the ones who know the full story. It becomes significant to the characters and then the viewers because it is something that both parties know. The eye-level angles show the neutrality wherein we see what the character does and how it helps the viewers become one with the character by putting them on an equal footing or level with them. It allows the audience to understand more of the situation of the characters and the events that is happening on the screen. Despite representing the planet Saturn itself and how tilted the rings of the planet are, the angle gave the audiences the feeling and idea that there was a certain confusion that is felt every time Ellie is in the house, and that is his mother's psychological disturbance and lunacy that is shown. Moving on from visual devices and mise-en-scène, let's take a look at the other thing that makes this film amazing: sound. Every Room is a Planet used several types of sound, including both diegetic and non-diegetic. They made sure that the entire film would be alive through putting accurate sounds in each of the scenes. Yet, Every Room is a Planet somehow broke the chain. It was like coming from cracking sounds of electronic devices, since the character of Ellie is used to it. Every time he walks on that hallway towards Yanni's and Dr. Akara's room, there was always a non-diegetic sound playing that was very random. When it comes to Yanni, the sound they used was very detailed. Whenever she breaks out about her missing husband, whenever she shouts, the sound in the scene would be it was like a sound made from that sound shows the mood of the scene. Every room is a planet is chock-filled with visual devices. A bit too many to recount all of them, so we're just going to discuss the top 3 visuals you'll see in the film. If there's one word I describe Yanni as, is that she's triggered. With that being said, all throughout the film, we see that Alan's belongings, pictures, and even their wedding video are all visuals as triggered that provoke Yanni into becoming a moaning piece of hot mess. Well, based on the binary code she obsessively writes in the film, we can see that she's a computer geek. I wouldn't hold on to the hope that she'd be able to communicate with the aliens that abducted her husband though. And one more thing. There's a visual in the film that'll tell you what time of year it is when the plot took place, and that's the old Christmas tree scattered throughout the different scenes in the film. Speaking of Christmas, that's a wrap for this film review, and we're signing off to enjoy our holiday.